Mr. Gates, how many Republicans do you have with you in this effort?
Well, I have enough Republicans where at this point next week, one of two things will happen. Kevin McCarthy won't be the Speaker of the House, or he'll be the Speaker of the House working at the pleasure of the Democrats.
On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 210. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
So earlier this week, Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, was ousted by a small group of his own Republican colleagues, led by none other than Freedom Caucus member Matt Gaetz. And you know what? Bravo, my man. Bravo. This is what our representatives in Congress are supposed to do. This is what we vote them into office for. To make sure that the people who voted them in are being represented and are not being screwed over. For far too long, we continue to vote in these representatives who do not make good on their campaign promises, like, for example, Medicare for all, right? Instead, opting to fold like the cheap, empty suit politicians that they truly are.
The gentleman from Florida is recognized with 3 minutes remaining.
To be clear, I tried to get one of the three podiums on the Republican side, and y'all wouldn't let me have them, so you sent me over here.
It seems appropriate that Matt Gaetz is delivering his statement from the Democrat side of the floor, as this is what we once thought the Democratic Party, the squad, was going to do. What happened, AOC? Take notes, Jamal Bowman. Don't pull fire alarms. Take some notes. You too, Cori Bush. I know that Ilhan Omar was sitting there watching, but that's a whole different thing.
We're $33 trillion in debt, facing $2.2 trillion annual deficits. And our fellow Americans may be watching, wondering, how does that happen?
Right,
how does the greatest country in the world? But you know what? I'll make this argument at any desk in this building, from the well, from the chair. I'll make it on every street corner in this country that Washington must change. We have to break the cycle. We have to break the fever. And I would hope, truly, that the reforms that we are fighting for are reforms that would last and be embraced and that would democratize power in this institution beyond the privileged few who back us up against shutdown politics and Christmases and deadlines in order to achieve their objectives. Mr. Speaker, high inflation is on the verge of bankrupting American families. Our economy is breaking in half. A typical American family can't afford to buy a house in 99% of U.S. counties. Inflation is stealing more than $700 a month from working Americans, nearly $9,000 a year.
I'm pretty sure you know it, but you just heard him say it right there, right? So the typical American family cannot afford a home in 99% of U.S. counties. That is ridiculous. And of course, we all know that due to inflation, and you just heard him there, I didn't know it was, whatever, those are the numbers he's putting up, $700 monthly additionally because of inflation, totaling over $9,000 a year. It's probably more than that.
Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he has failed to take a stand where it matters. So if he won't, I will. I make no apologies for defending the right of every hardworking American to afford a decent life for themselves and their families, and we have a greater opportunity to do that and to build coalitions under new leadership. We have to rip off the Band-Aid. We have to get back on a better course. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know how this vote's going to go. Usually when a vote comes to this floor, it's pretty predetermined. And this one, I'm not so sure. But I am sure that we've made the right argument, that this place deserves single-subject spending bills, that we should have 72 hours to read a bill, that something that spends more than $100 million shouldn't be put on the suspension agenda such that we can't amend it, and there shouldn't be secret side deals made on a continuing resolution to lump Ukraine in with border security. That is not right for Ukraine or border security because it fails to give either of those issues the dignity that they would require. But we can return that dignity to this House. We can get back on a better path. We can have single subject appropriations bills. We can set a budget top line. We haven't had a budget in this place since I was in high school. So let's get a budget. Let's get our act together. Let's get on with it. Let's vacate the chair. And let's get a better speaker. I yield back.
Well, Matt Gaetz certainly did deliver on his promise, unlike the squad. And is it too far-fetched to want single subject appropriation bills? And 72 hours to go over the bills? I don't see anything wrong with that. But of course they don't like that. They like to compound the bills so that, I didn't really want to vote for Ukraine funding, but I had to vote for border security, or vice versa. Political nonsense. You know, after the 15 rounds of voting that it took for Kevin McCarthy to even get the speakership in the first place, you'd think he would have made good on the promises that he made to his Republican colleagues. But instead, according to Matt Gaetz anyway, he's opting to do side deals to bring funding to Ukraine in a continuing resolution. And we certainly know that Kevin McCarthy is a staunch supporter of the Ukraine. Right? I mean, it's very apparent.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes. My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy and me.
Again, hats off, Matt. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't drop the ball, bro. Don't drop the ball.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy and me.
My Buddy.